President Trump wants to ditch the penny.
The penny is gone.
If you're watching this, this might be the last time you ever use the pennies sitting in your pocket.
I'm in deep trouble. I'm in deep trouble. There'll be headlines when I get out of this room, but I'll stick with it.
The United States government is eliminating the 1-cent coin after more than 100 years in circulation, and when that happens, millions of pennies will quietly disappear from everyday use. But here's the strange part you don't realize. Some of those coins are worth thousands of dollars, and they're about to go out of existence. Yes, you heard right. The pennies that you've hidden in old jars, left in forgotten drawers, and even have as pocket change are worth $10,000, $40,000, or more. In this video, you'll learn the 5 pennies you should check for before the penny disappears for good. The 1982 penny that shouldn't exist, a $7,000 mistake hiding in plain sight. If you have a jar of loose coins sitting somewhere in your house, there's a small chance one of them could be worth thousands, and even the keenest eyes miss it. That's because one of the most valuable modern pennies in circulation looks almost identical to an ordinary coin. The difference comes down to a quiet change the government made in 1982 and a mistake that slipped through the cracks. In 1982, the U.S. Mint changed the metal used to make pennies. For decades, pennies were made mostly from copper, which gave them their weight and durability. But copper prices kept rising, and producing pennies became expensive. According to the United States Mint 2023 annual report, it now costs 3.07 cents to produce a single penny, more than triple its face value. That's one of the main reasons lawmakers have debated eliminating the coin entirely. To cut costs back in 1982, the Mint switched from solid copper pennies to cheaper zinc coins coated with copper. On paper, it sounded simple. In reality, it created one of the most confusing coin years in American history. Because of the transition, 7 different varieties of pennies were produced in 1982. Some were copper, some were zinc, and some had different date styles. According to PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, this production confusion created one of the rarest modern penny errors ever discovered. And that's where the treasure hunt begins. During the transition, the Denver Mint accidentally struck a small date design onto leftover copper planchets, the metal blanks used before the switch to zinc. That combination was never supposed to exist. Yet a small number of those coins escaped into circulation before anyone realized the mistake. Collectors now call it the 1982 D small date copper penny, and examples have sold for over $7,000 at auction. Here's the first test you can do right now. Take any 1982 penny with a D mint mark, the small letter below the year. Now look closely at the number 2 in the date. On the large date version, the 2 looks tall and slightly curved upward. It almost sits higher than the rest of the numbers. But on the small date version, the 2 sits lower and appears slimmer, tucked neatly in line with the other digits. If you place 2 coins side by side, the difference becomes obvious, but that alone doesn't confirm the rare coin. Here's the test that matters, and it takes 5 seconds. Grab a digital kitchen scale. Copper pennies weigh about 3.11 grams, while zinc pennies weigh about 2.5 grams. That difference might sound small, but it's huge in coin collecting. If your 1982 D small date penny weighs around 3.1 grams, you may be holding the rare copper version. And yes, people have actually discovered them in everyday change. In one widely shared case documented by coin collectors, a man searching through bank coin rolls found a 1982 D small date penny and later had it authenticated. The coin eventually sold for thousands at auction, proof that valuable coins can still appear in circulation decades later. But here's the unsettling part. Most people who encounter this coin spend it without realizing what they had. It looks worn, it looks ordinary, it looks like every other penny in the pile, and that's exactly why these coins keep slipping through people's fingers. So before you ignore that jar of pennies sitting on your counter, take 5 minutes to check the dates and grab a small kitchen scale, because the next coin on this list proves something even crazier. Sometimes the mistake is so obvious you can see it without any tools at all. The blurry 1972 penny that could be worth $10,000. Thousands of people have handled this coin without realizing what they were looking at. There's no rare metal, no special color, or even a hidden marking. It's just a normal-looking penny with a mistake so obvious that once you see it, you'll never miss it again. And yet for decades, these coins quietly passed through cash registers, coin jars, and vending machines before collectors realized how valuable they were. The coin is called the 1972 double-die obverse penny, and it's one of the most famous mint errors in modern American coin history. Here's what happened. When coins are produced, a metal die stamps the design onto blank coins with extreme pressure. But in 1972, something went wrong at the Philadelphia Mint. During the die creation process, the design was accidentally stamped twice, but slightly slightly misaligned. Instead of a clean image, the die created coins where parts of the design appear doubled. And because the mistake happened on the die itself, thousands of pennies were produced with the same error before anyone noticed. According to the PCGS, authentic examples of the 1972 double die penny have sold for more than $10,000 depending on condition, even when the coin shows wear from circulation. But here's where things get interesting. Unlike many rare coins that require microscopes or professional grading to identify, this error can be spotted with nothing more than a bright light and your eyes. That's why collectors have spent decades searching through ordinary penny rolls looking for it. So here's exactly how to check. First, grab any penny dated 1972, then look at the front of the coin. One important detail, the rare version does not have a mint mark below the date, meaning it came from the Philadelphia Mint. Now focus on three specific areas of the coin. The word Liberty on the left side, the phrase "In God We Trust" across the top, the date 1972. On a normal penny, those letters appear sharp and clean, but on the rare double die version, something looks strange. Each letter appears to have a second shadow image sitting slightly beside it, almost like the coin was stamped twice. The effect is most visible on Liberty, where the letters look thick and doubled, almost blurry. Here's the simple test collectors use. Hold the coin under a bright desk lamp or phone flashlight, slowly tilt it left and right. If the lettering looks thick or ghost-like, as if your eyes can't focus properly, you may be seeing the doubling effect. And when it's real, the difference is obvious. The doubling on authentic coins is clear and strong, not faint scratches or damage. According to Heritage Auctions, one circulated example of this penny sold for $14,400 at auction in 2019, proving collectors are still willing to pay serious money for the error decades later. When the error first appeared, many people assumed the blurry letters were simply worn dies or damages. But once collectors compared multiple coins and realized the same doubling appeared in the exact same places, they knew something unusual had happened at the mint. That's when the hunt began. People started searching through rolls of pennies from banks, old piggy banks, and family coin jars, hoping to spot the distinctive doubling. And some actually succeeded. You see, your brain expects coins to look imperfect. Small scratches or blurry edges feel normal after years in circulation. So when people see the doubled letters, they assume it's damage and ignore it. That simple assumption has likely caused thousands of valuable coins to be spent as ordinary change. Which brings us to the next penny on this list. A coin so valuable that counterfeiters have been caught trying to fake it. In fact, it became such a serious problem that federal investigators had to step in. And if you ever find the real version of this next penny, you might be holding a coin worth well over $100,000. The penny so valuable, the Secret Service investigated it. Imagine finding a coin worth more than a brand new car hiding in a pile of loose change. It sounds impossible, but this next penny became so valuable that counterfeit versions started appearing everywhere, and federal agents had to step in. When a 1-cent coin attracts the attention of investigators, you know something unusual happened at the mint. The coin is the 1969 S-double die obverse penny, and collectors consider it one of the most dramatic mint errors ever produced. Just like the 1972 penny in the previous section, the mistake happened during the die creation process. When the design was transferred onto the die, the image shifted slightly between strikes. That tiny misalignment created bold doubling across the lettering on the coin. But unlike the 1972 error, the doubling here is much stronger. The letters in Liberty, "In God We Trust," and the date 1969 appear thick and clearly duplicated. When viewed under good light, the second set of letters looks almost like a shadow stamped directly beside the first. And because the error happened early in production, several coins slipped into circulation before anyone realized what had occurred. According to the PCGS, authentic examples of the 1969 S double die penny have sold for over $100,000 depending on condition, making it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. But the real story behind this coin is even more bizarre. In the early 1970s, collectors started reporting strange 1969 pennies with doubled lettering. At first, government officials believed the coins were counterfeit. In fact, some of the early discoveries were temporarily confiscated by the U.S. Secret Service, which investigates counterfeit currency. Later, experts confirmed the truth. The coins were not fake, they were legitimate mint errors. Once that discovery spread through the coin-collecting world, the hunt exploded, and prices quickly followed. According to Heritage Auctions, one example of the 1969 S double die penny sold for $126,500 in 2008, proving just how valuable a tiny mint mistake can become. Now here's where things get tricky. Because the coin is worth six figures, counterfeiters started trying to replicate it. Their favorite trick? They take a normal 1969 penny from Philadelphia, which has no mint mark, and attach a tiny S mint mark to make it appear like it came from the San Francisco Mint. To an untrained eye, the coin can look convincing, but there's a simple test you can do at home to catch most fakes. First, grab any 1969 penny and look directly below the date. If there's a small S mint mark, that means it came from the San Francisco Mint, the correct location for the rare version. Now examine that mint mark carefully. On an authentic coin, the S is stamped cleanly into the metal as part of the original design. The edges appear smooth and naturally blended with the coin's surface. On many counterfeits, the S was added later, which means it sits slightly raised or uneven. Run your fingernail gently across the mint mark. If you feel a ridge or edge around it, that's a major warning sign. Real mint marks feel completely flush with the coin. Next, check the lettering. Look closely at Liberty and In God We Trust. If the coin is authentic, the doubling should appear strong and clearly separated, not fuzzy or smeared. The doubled letters should look like two clean impressions sitting side by side. Here's a real-life example that shows why people still search for this coin. One collector discovered a genuine 1969 S double die penny in a group of coins purchased from a small estate sale. At first glance, it looked like a normal worn penny, but after closer inspection, the doubled lettering revealed the truth. That coin later sold for thousands at auction, which proves something important. Rare coins don't always appear shiny or perfect. Sometimes they look scratched, dull, or completely ordinary. And that's exactly why people overlook them. But the next penny on this list makes even this six-figure coin seem small. Because during World War II, a mistake at the mint created one of the most legendary coins in American history, a penny that has sold for over $1.7 million. The wartime penny, that sold for $1.7 million. In the middle of World War II, the United States government needed every ounce of copper it could get. Copper was critical for producing ammunition, electrical wiring, and military equipment. So in 1943, the U.S. Mint made a drastic decision: stop using copper for pennies entirely. Instead, pennies that year would be made from zinc-coated steel. Millions of these silver-colored steel pennies were produced and circulated across the country. They looked completely different from the traditional brown copper coins people were used to. But in the chaos of wartime production, something unexpected happened inside the mint presses. A small number of leftover copper blanks from 1942 remained in the coin presses. When the machine started producing the new 1943 pennies, those copper blanks were accidentally struck with the 1943 design. Those coins were never supposed to exist, yet a few slipped out into circulation before anyone noticed the mistake. Today, collectors call this coin the 1943 Copper Lincoln Penny, and it has become one of the most legendary coins in American history. According to the PCGS, fewer than 20 authentic examples of the 1943 copper penny are known to exist worldwide, making it one of the rarest circulating coins ever produced in the United States. And when something that rare appears at auction, collectors are willing to pay astonishing prices. In 2021, Heritage Auctions reported a 1943 copper penny selling for $1.7 million, setting one of the highest prices ever paid for a Lincoln cent. But here's the part that makes this coin so fascinating. You don't need a microscope, coin grading service, or expensive tools to check if you might have one. All you need is something almost everyone already has in their kitchen: a magnet. First, find any penny dated 1943. Most 1943 pennies were made of steel, which means they're magnetic. If you place a magnet near the coin, it will immediately snap toward it and stick. That's a normal steel penny, still collectible, but usually worth only a few dollars. But if you place a magnet next to a 1943 penny and it does not stick, that's when things get interesting. Because copper isn't magnetic, which means that penny might be one of the rare copper versions accidentally struck during the war. Collectors have used this simple magnet test for decades to quickly separate common steel pennies from potential copper ones. But there's a catch, and it's an important one. Because this coin is so valuable, people have spent years trying to fake it. Some scammers take a regular steel 1943 penny and coat it with copper plating to make it look like the rare version. Others take a 1948 copper penny and carefully file down the 8 to resemble a 3. To an untrained eye, those tricks can look convincing, but the magnet test exposes the most common fakes instantly. Copper-plated steel pennies will still stick to a magnet because the metal underneath is steel. So if the magnet grabs the coin, it's not the $1 million version. But if the magnet slides right off, that's when you stop everything. Because you might be holding one of the rarest coins ever produced by the United States Mint. A coin that started as pocket change ended up becoming a life-changing discovery, which shows how easily something extraordinary can hide inside something ordinary. But believe it or not, the final penny on this list might be the strangest of them all, because according to the government, this coin was never even supposed to exist. Yet collectors have seen it, auction houses have sold it, and one example quietly traded hands for more than $50,000. The penny the government says doesn't exist. Sometimes the rarest coins aren't just mistakes, they're mysteries. And this final penny is so unusual that for years, the government insisted it was never made at all. The coin is known as the 1959 D Mule penny. To understand why it's so valuable, you need to know what changed in 1959. That year marked the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and the U.S. Mint redesigned the back of the penny. The classic wheat ears design, used since 1909, was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial. Every 1959 penny was supposed to feature the new memorial reverse, but somehow at the Denver Mint, a coin was reportedly struck using the old wheat ears reverse die instead. Two designs that were never supposed to appear together ended up on the same coin. Here's the test. Find a 1959 penny with a D mint mark, then flip it over. If you see the Lincoln Memorial, it's normal. But if you ever see wheat ears on the back of a 1959 D penny, stop immediately. You may be looking at one of the rarest mint errors ever discovered. The next time you see a penny sitting on your table, in your car cup holder, or buried inside a jar of loose change, don't ignore it. As you've seen, some of the most valuable coins in America didn't come from collectors or museums. They were discovered by ordinary people who simply took a closer look. If you've ever found a strange-looking coin, an old penny, or a coin with an unusual design, share this in the comments. You never know who might have a rare coin sitting in their drawer right now without realizing it. And if you want more videos like this, revealing hidden valuables, rare coins, and scams to stay wary of, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you never miss the next gold mine.